Hi everyone and welcome back. So let's talk about Redux Toolkit example. We will write it from scratch. Okay, so let's say to understand this we can start with very basic to-do app. Okay, from there we will build the complex applications. So first thing is we have to create a store, right? And so what we can do is we have to wrap everything inside the provider. We already have this root component created. So here we'll just use provider and we'll pass a store to the provider, and then we'll just close everything inside a provider. And then let's say we are going to create a couple of component, like in the to do app I'm going to create a to do input component and to do list component. Okay, that I will import. So here we also need to get a store from somewhere, so we can create a simple folder, create a directory store, and we can also create another directory for the components, and inside component we will create a to do input. So we'll import these components from there. To do input will be coming from to do input folder. So we are inside components, to do input, and similarly we will get import to do list, to do list. Okay, we'll create these components, and we are also getting store from somewhere. So import store from, we already have a store folder. Inside this, let's say we are going to create a store.ts. So inside store we'll create a store.ts, and another file is because we are going to create a slice, let's say call it as a todos.ts. Okay, we have created all the files needed. Here we need to pass the store which we are going to import from there. Okay, now it's just about a matter of resolving these three files, like creating the store. Let's go to store.ts. Now if we remember how we were creating a store, the simple logic is we have to just call the configure store. So configure store, and here it was taking object, and inside the object we are passing reducer. And let's say here I'm saying to do's, and there is a one reducer I'm going to write inside the to do's.ts. Import to do's from to do's, and we are going to write reducer here. Let's say do that first. We are going to create a slice. So export interface, because we have to initialize the state. So we have three properties inside us, to do object, to do string, message is also string, and completed is also not a string, it's a boolean. And then what we have is const to do's equal to create slice. So we are doing create slice. Inside this we can pass the whole object, and here we can pass the arguments. Okay, the name is to do's, and here the initial state. Oh, it's not taking initial. Okay, we didn't import the create slice, that's why. We can import it. Let me do a quick fix if possible. Yes, it will work. And then if it is imported, then it will come automatically using IntelliSense. So this will be empty array as to do's. We have the interface to do, so it will be an array of this interface, and here we will define all our reducers. Inside reducers, okay, let's say add to do. What will be the impact of this onto our state? So we have a current state, we have action, and there is an action type. Okay, state we already know. Inside this action we are going to do a couple of things. An action is of type payload action. Okay, it's payload action of type simple string, and here we already know what we need to do in the add to do. So we have the state object, right? So we will access the current state dot push, and here we can add a new to do. I mean, it's like an object. So id, we already imported uuid, I think. We are getting the uuid, we are getting a message, because we already know what all attributes this is going to have. Completed is false. Message we can get from the action.payload. Okay, action.payload. That's it. So we have created a simple slice, and we'll just do export default to do's, and then we will import it in our store. So this is our store. We will add a couple of more methods inside reducers. So store will become to do's dot all the reducers we have, to do's dot reducer. So this is our store, and we have to actually export the types, because we are now writing a type script. Export type app dispatch equal to type of store dot dispatch, and export type app state. These are the two types we can export, and this is going to be a return type of store dot get state. It should be get state, and then what we are doing, export default store. So from here we are exporting the store, the thing which we needed. So store.ts. So this is our store, and store is importing everything we need, and now it's all about writing the components. So we can go to the component, and let's go to our index.ts. Here now we are getting the store. Now we just need to work on to do input and to do list, right? And we can also add couple of more methods here inside our to do's, like we already have add to do. There can be a couple of more methods. Okay, delete to do. So I will just copy and paste all of these. And what all we can have? We can have something like sort. Okay, in that case we don't need an payload. We are fine with state, and we can simply do is state dot sort, and I think sorting we are doing based on the message. So AB, and we can simply do the sort a dot message. A dot message local compare, I think there is a method, and B dot message. So this is just a simple sorting. Then another thing is we do have complete to do. What it will do, it will have a state and action. So we can simply first of all find which to do you wanted to complete, and then we just mark the completed to be done. So for this, so first of all we will do a state.filter. We are looking for something where the todo dot id is not equal to. First of all we will just do the filter on the state. Oh, okay, sorry, this is a complete. So in this case we can simply do is find complete to do, and this can be done using state dot find to do, and we are looking for to do dot id, but that is equal to the action dot payload. Okay, so we got the to do which we wanted to complete. So we can simply do is complete to do dot completed is true, simple, and return state. Similarly, if you wanted to delete to do, what we need to do is we just need to do a state.filter. So instead of dot find, we can return the same, return state.filter, where the todo.id not equal to action.payload. Okay, this completes all the methods. Inside a create slice we have add, delete, complete, and sort. I mean, we can now it's all about how we can consume all these methods onto the UI. Okay, let's go to our component. We will write to do input. To do input is nothing but a simple input text. When you are submitting that, we are going to submit that to the to do, I mean the Redux state. So const to do input equal to, this is a functional component, so react dot fc, this functional component, and what we are doing is, let's import all these things. Import react from react, we are writing to do input component, and we are going to use state hook to maintain what the user is typing, and we can get the dispatch because it's a functional component, and we can use these hooks. Dispatch is of type app dispatch, and we are going to get it using use dispatch. This is a hook using which we can trigger the action to the Redux store. So this is value, let's call it as input, and set input. This we are going to listen for the changes happening inside a text field, and state is initialized with empty, and here we can write a simple form. Write a form, and on submit we will do a couple of things. On submit of the form, either we can write the code here or we can write a separate function. So this is the event object, and first of all event dot prevent default prevented, stop propagation, prevent default. This is the first thing. Then we'll do a simple dispatch. So to do's, we are going to import that dot action. So first of all import to do's. So import to do's from, we have to move outside store, and then there is a to do's file. So what we are doing is to-dos dot actions dot add to do. Here we are actually passing the whole action. We don't need to create simple separate actions file. And here input dot value. Input we already have inside a component state. And once that is done, set input to empty value. And we'll just add one simple text field that will do all these things inside this form. This is our simple component. So input, this is input, set input value, event.target.value. Okay, our simple component we have created, and then export default this component. To do input. Okay, now we can talk about to-do list. Here we are using dispatch. Dispatch is helping us to dispatch the add to-do action. Now all the other to-do action we are going to see inside a to-do list, like the complete, delete, sort and all. It's all about iterating onto the list. So first of all, we have to get the list of to-dos. So to-do list, we have to export the same, and here inside to-do list we will still use the dispatch, like we also wanted to do the sorting and mark the list complete. Here we will get the to-dos using use, and we will use use selector to access the state from Redux store. So this is my state, which is app state, and from the app state I wanted to access only, and we do have only one single property right now, but state dot to-dos. Why? So app state from this, and then state dot to-dos. Okay, so this will give me the list of to-dos. Now what is left? I can just iterate onto them and render the list and show some kind of a checkbox or something like that, where you can click and mark a particular to-dos complete. So it is a div some class like, okay, to-do list. Now what we will do is we are just going to iterate on to-dos dot map. I will access a single to-do, and here we will return JSX. So here I'm saying is there is a div, we'll pass the key which is todo.id, and inside this div we'll wrap everything. So let's say I have an input checkbox and then button and all these things, and then I do also have some sorting mechanism. So I can simply put my template here, so we can just understand the logic and move forward. So what we are doing here is class name, we'll take a look onto this later. So we are passing key, and then here we have the input, and we are importing the to-do slice that we have to import. So import to-do slice. We have to go inside store, and then there is a to-dos. So to-do slice, what we are trying to access, we are trying to access the actions. So we can also export the actions directly from here. here you can say we are exporting this to do slice, and from there we are getting these actions: add to do, delete to do, complete to do, short. Okay, like I mean it's better way that you should export the actions from this itself here only. So export all the actions, like export const equal to to-dos dot actions, right? And what all actions you are returning: sort, create, sorry, delete to do, add to do, and there should be one more, complete, right? These are the actions, and you can import them directly instead of doing to-dos dot actions dot create and all. And you can simply say is complete to do, delete to do, something like that. Add to do we need, I think this is sort. Add to do we need in the earlier component. So here we are showing to-dos dot actions dot add to do. No, we can simply say is okay, access add to do from the slice, because we are exporting only the actions, required actions. So you can directly say is simple add to do instead of doing to-dos dot actions dot add to do. Okay, so this resolve our everything, plain and simple. We can just remove the unused imports. And this is simple Redux Toolkit demo. And we can just think about the stylings. This is simple sorting. We can delete. Okay. So this is all about a simple example using Redux Toolkit. Okay. I hope this really helps in understanding how. So now if we see the difference, what we are doing, we were still using, now here we will see the actual difference. Earlier also we were using use dispatch, use selector. There is no much difference, right? Use selector, use dispatch we were using. The only difference is how we are creating a store and how we are exposing the actions and the reducers. The way of creating the store is now different. Here we are creating store using configure store and inside the reducer, because this will tell us from which place we can get the values from the store. So it's like store dot to-dos dot some property, right? And here inside the slice we are exposing all the actions. We are defining this is considered as a reducer which has actions inside it. So how we are accessing the actions? To-dos dot actions and exposing from here. So we don't need the actions separately. We don't need to worry about immutability of the Redux store. We are just doing state.filter, whatever is there, it is populated in this store. Here we are just accessing only single to do and just marking completed true and returning the same state, right? So this is pretty much. Thanks everyone.